Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. This is our very first session in the Women in Banking series. We launched the Women in Banking community earlier this year, and we will be having we have planned a number of sessions with women in leadership positions from the banking industry. Uh, Over to you, Madhura ma'am.
I thought it was the true leaders of the women in banking community who would be speaking, but that's fine. Thank you so much. You know, um, a lot of us at Aspire for Her have been bankers earlier, and we very strongly feel that it is an absolutely fantastic career option, especially for women, for men as well, actually. But there is not enough happening. Um, Today to actually attract more and more women into banking because banking is very welcoming, banking is very inclusive, and banking ensures that no one is left behind. And it also gives a lot of opportunities to people and gives them chances to prove themselves every day. It's very meaningful because you're working with something that's very important to people, their money. So, we thought women in banking would be a fantastic opportunity for us to build a new community and get more women excited about joining the exciting world of banking. We do work with a few banks, and we are hoping that we will be able to get you a lot more insights and a lot more opportunities from them of various kinds. But this is our first time that we're actually doing this, so very, very excited. And I'm joined by my colleagues here, Jaya Janardanan and Radha Dorai, both of whom are very, very accomplished bankers and also have very inspiring life stories of their own. So I'm very honored and very thrilled to be actually starting this off. And I hope that women in banking becomes a movement in this country and becomes a significant part of the 1 million women that we are trying to add to the workforce by 2025. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Over to you, Radha ma'am.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Good evening. And I'm glad to be part of this women in banking cohort, managed by or rather, being arranged by Aspire for Her for getting more women into banking. As we see, a lot of women, the number of women in banking is less than 25% today of the total number of people in banks. So our aim here in this women in banking group is to get more women back into banking, or freshers joining banks and making a career out of banking, like many of us on this panel or on this Zoom call have done. Jaya, for example, Madhura. There are others who are in the women in banking cohort who are leaders in banking. So we will be as part of the initiatives of women in banking, we will be having sessions, webinars arranged like this for on various topics of banking. Like we will start with careers in banking and then go on to various aspects of banking. These sessions will be led by experts in the respective field, and you're welcome to join these sessions and gain knowledge from what all options are available as career for women who want to make a career in banking. And also, it will give you more idea about the particular aspects of banking, like, for example, risk management, compliance, client engagement, etc., etc. We'll have sessions on all these. To start with, we will be talking about careers in banking, which is what is the topic today. And I am honored to present Jaya Janardanan, who is an accomplished banker, who's a friend as well as an accomplished banker. She will talk to you about the various career options in banking. Let me introduce Jaya to you. Jaya has been, like I said, an established or an accomplished banker. She started her banking career, I think, around mid of 1990s, mainly with ICICI Bank. And after ICICI Bank, she has been at various banks, be they foreign banks, payment bank, small finance bank, various types of banks. So she has extensive experience of being or being absorbing the organizational culture of various types of banks. And she also has experience in handling NBFC. So she has been COO at Indostar Capital Finance. So let me just roll back to her career in ICICI Bank. After ICICI Bank, she joined ING Vaishya as a vice president, and from there she went on to Dhanalakshmi Bank, where she did extensive work on transformation, on IT transformation of the bank. She was EVP and head operations at Dhanalakshmi Bank. Then she moved on to JP Morgan Chase, again, a foreign bank, where she was heading client engagement. She then moved on to Bank of America as director and head of operations risk. So the risk angle also comes in. She has extensive experience in managing risks in operation risks in banks. She then moved to Aditya Birla as COO, Chief Operating Officer of Aditya Birla Payments Bank. And then she moved to Ujjivan Small Finance Bank as Chief Operating Officer, where again she did a wonderful job of improving processes and bringing on a lot of cost savings for Ujjivan Bank. She then moved to Indostar Capital Finance, which is an NBFC. So again, her extensive banking and small finance experience helped her in managing an NBFC as COO. And now she's on her own. She has set up her own company called Crayon Tech, and she's the co-founder and director of Crayon Tech. Where Crayon Tech Solutions again is involved in providing solutions to banks and financial institutions. So she has not left the banking sector totally. She is into providing service and solutions to the banking sector. So welcome, Jaya. Welcome to this session, and we are looking forward to hearing from you on the various career options in banking. So when I was interacting with the youngsters, the freshers out of college, one of the questions that came to me from them was, nowadays with so much of technology happening, technology development, this is the age of AI, ML, and metaverse. Social media influencing is such a good career many people are following. In all these new things, why should banking attract a youngster? So this was a question. Maybe you'd like to take up this.
Hey, thanks, Radha. And I think one of the critical things that you forgot to mention as part of the introduction is that I'm very heart and soul associated with Aspire for Her.
Yes.
And it's been a dream to set up this banking community from day one when Madhura and me spoke about it, but we finally saw it in action now. And so very happy to be part of the initial first session of the banking the series that we have worked. See, for me, banking, I'm very biased towards banking. Maybe because I've done banking.
Before you start, Jaya, I'd really love to thank Radha as well, because some of you who don't know, Radha has had a very, very inspiring journey herself in the banking and financial services sector. And what is most beautiful is that after Radha became a mentor at Aspire for Her, we sort of just discussed this idea that we want to set up something called Women in Banking, and Radha very beautifully took this on to say that, I'm going to be leading this, and she's got such amazing ideas. So just wait and see is what I will say. That there's a lot coming your way. And thank you, Radha, for doing what you're doing. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for this.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Privileged to be part of this group.
Yeah, so actually I'm very biased towards banking. Okay, so one is I'm a banker at core heart. So for me, banking stands above anything else. And the question with respect to why should youngsters take up banking? Uh, Let me tell you, in all the career options that are available today, banking always will stand out as one of the best things that as a career one can take up. It has a versatile approach. You have multiple roles to explore. You have multiple areas to learn from. You have multiple. It is a never boring job. It's a very contagious job. Okay, because I have seen people who have quit banking come back to banking. Very rarely you will find people exiting banking. Okay, the some of the very senior people in the industry are from banks, because the world entrusts a banker to actually lead some of the senior industry professions, industry committees, everything you see, it will be a banker. So, and why should youngsters take up banking? See, the approach is that banking has changed so drastically today, so drastically from where you and I and Madhura has been as bankers. We have seen the ledger days, right? We have sat and wrote pen and paper on debit and credit. And from there, we now see a core banking system. And from there, we have now seen a fintech change, right? So typically, the industry has evolved so much that today, while you talk about technology, it is incompletely in the banking setup. If you walk into a bank, you can't see people in the cash counters anymore because it is digital. Everything is digital. You can be in the weirdest part of the country and you can still ask for loan, and you will get loan in a few minutes. It's all because the way banking has evolved. So there is always a thrill to banking. There is all, and banking is a part of any change that the economy has. Be it the financial, be it the budget, everywhere banking finds a critical space. So, working in a bank when I was young used to be a privilege. I mean, when we used to look up on people who used to work in banks, oh, wow, that uncle works in a bank. Oh, this auntie works in a bank. Oh, I wish I could also get a job in a bank. But once you're in a bank, you realize why you feel so privileged and why you feel so on the top of the world. And the point is that in banking, it's a forever learning sphere. And Radha and you and I, we have seen how in ICICI Bank, how we have been part of the change right from the initial days of the ledger to the way ICICI Bank has climbed up the ladders of technology change, right? We have seen the net banking, we have seen the ATMs coming in place. We have seen a lot of changes which has happened in the last few years. So any change that happens in the industry, it has a big effect in banking, and you become part of the major change that happens in the industry. So, like you say, it's a place of thrill. It's a place where you can forever learn and grow, and opportunity. So my suggestion to all those who are looking at the youngsters who are looking at career, banking is one of the most sought after role, place to be in.
Okay, Jaya. I mean, yes, banking does seem to be attractive even today. With a lot of technology being used, and us reaching out to the remotest corners of the country, ensuring that financial inclusion happens, etc. But tell me, what are the various streams within banking that a youngster should look for? I mean, a fresher may not know what are the options available. So, what are the career options within banking?
See, in a banking, there are various streams that are available to the youngsters, or for lateral movements, or for people who are looking at career as banking as a career, even if they want to move into banking. So first and foremost, the branch becomes a critical place, or the place of contact for the customer, and the connect between the customer and the organization or bank as the largest is a branch. So there are many roles in the branch. Okay, can anybody in the participant make a wild guess as to how many bank branches we have in the country today? Quick guess. Please don't see the Google, okay? How many bank branches we have?
Please post your answers in the chat section.
Okay. Okay, we have about, okay, let me quickly okay, we have about 2.5 lakh bank branches in the country, and that's only going to expand and that's only going to increase. So therefore, the roles that are there in the bank branches, okay, or the roles that are there in the banks are largely, there are multiple roles in the branches. So you have a business role. I don't want to use the word sales role because people take sales very differently. It's a business role. It's a development of business for your bank, for the organization. You have a operations role, which you manage the day-to-day operations of the branches. You have a customer service role. You have a role of a cashier who manages a cash of the branch. You have a role of a audit in the branches. You have so many roles which are there. These are the roles which are there in the branches. Now, this is just a branch role. That is one branch in the country, in a bank has this particular role. These roles are there. Now, when you go to a regional offices, when you go to the zonal offices, when you go to a corporate offices, all these roles multiply because most of these roles aggregate to some of the critical verticals which are there in the in the corporate office. Now, in terms of the roles that are the roles, when we talk about roles, let me take up some specific roles that are very critical and very lucrative as I see it as. Business development role in a bank is very critical. It decides or draws up what kind of business strategy that you have to do in the bank. How do you grow businesses? How do you make business? How do you make sure that you do your business in the organizations? There is a product role. Most of the banks needs product, and product is based on what customer needs, and product depends upon what the consumer needs. It's like Amazon, or it's like any other online product which talks about what does the consumer need. So the bank has to define and draw up the product of the bank. So the product development is a big role in the organizations. Roles like risk. We do so many products, we do so many businesses, we do so many fintech, we do so much of technology. There is risk involved in it. Risk is a critical role in the organizations. Also, for the fact that there is compliance, because you're managing people's money, you're managing people's assets. There is so much of need to be compliant in the organization. The RBI every day in and day out seeks information from the banks to make sure that everything goes on well. There is a role of compliance in the organizations. There are managers, or there are roles of the regional managers, the credit managers who manages a credit while giving the loan of the organization in the banks. So these are various roles which are not only critical, they're lucrative, they're very productive, and you will feel really you feel really up to it when you actually take up these roles and deliver the organizations, because they're very satisfying roles. The other thing which I did not forget to mention, I thought I'll mention it towards the end, is a role of operations. Operations are like the backbone of an organization. If everything goes on well in the front end, it is like your lungs and kidneys. Nobody will bother about it till you are fine and okay. The moment you start getting issues, when doctor will say, go check your blood, check your kidney, check your liver, all of that. So that's the way how operations is. Operations is so critical that if it doesn't work well, things don't go well. So operations is like a backbone, managing everything at the back end. You may say that I've opened an account in the front office, or I have met an officer, opened an account. Who does it in the back end? It's the operations team. If you are withdrawing money from an ATM, who manages the recon of the back end? Who manages your transaction? You're ensuring that your credit and debit in the account is all okay. It's a back end. You may have technology. So these are very different roles which are there in the organization. Very important. Any one part of it does not work, things will not work. So, I can keep talking about the roles in banking, because as I told you, I'm very biased towards banking. So I have to put a full stop over here. So
yeah, so Jaya, one of the, in fact, it's one of the questions that has come up in the chat as well, and this was playing on my mind, if a returnee wants to come, a person who has taken a career break wants to come and join a bank, what kind of options can that person look at?
See, there's no specific role for a returnee, or there's no specific, we can't say that, for the newcomers it is this, and for the return it is this. If you are someone who is quite keen to join banking, I've listed out all the roles that are available. It is a matter of what is that one wants to do. There are a lot of people who are qualified technology wise who wants to come back and they want to go in technology, in tech. There are a lot of people who are interested in risk, that you can walk into risk. There are so many people who are interested in product development, they can go into product development. So there is nothing which is very specific to returnee based, saying that, these are the only roles that returnees can take and these are the only roles that fresh comers can take. It's a matter of what is your key interest on, what do you want to do, how do you want to do. Some of them are very, very customer focused. Some of them love to talk to customers. Customer service is a very critical piece in a bank. Today we have reached a scenario in a bank that it is a buyer's choice, not a seller's choice. Okay, he has 10 banks on the at the turning of his house. He can go and open his account in any of the bank, but it's a matter of how you service the customer that will retain the customer, and therefore service is a very critical piece. So where I'm coming from is there's nothing called specific role per se for a returnee. The options are open, the options are multifold. It's a matter of what is that you're interested in. So that's where I would focus it on, taking to what I would like to join, what I would like to get into.
So are there any women friendly roles in banks, or or if a woman wants to work from home, is that an option that is available to a banking employee, a bank employee?
Today, working from home is something which you have to have the organizations give you that accept the organizations give it to you. You don't have your choice that I'll work in a bank and I need to work from home. It is all depends upon whether the bank wants to allow you to work from home. So that is something that we should keep outside the space of banking, because some banks are okay to allow you to work from home. Some banks are not okay to allow you to work from home. So that priority is left with the bank. Now, when you talk about return, some of the
women-friendly roles.
Women-friendly roles. See, as I told you, and as Madhura mentioned earlier, it's a very, very inclusive space, banking. Okay, so every role is very, very, I feel every role in a bank is very, very woman friendly, and woman, every woman can achieve if they work in a bank in any role. And I have done that. The only role, and I feel very sad when I say that, is the only role that I did not do in a bank, a full-fledged, is a sales role. Okay, having said that, I have done all the other roles in the bank. But I think that every role in a bank is very, very friendly as far as I have seen it. And I don't think there is anything which is not a woman-friendly role in a bank. So, and you have done it yourself, Radha, so I'm sure you know about it.
Yeah, I do know, but this is for the benefit of the audience. The role that I am playing, I need to get that explained to the audience. The other thing, other aspect that comes to many youngsters' minds is that, many a times, they read in the newspapers about various frauds and scams happening in banks. Also, a lot of loan defaults are happening in banks. So is banking a risky career as such, according to you?
Every career is risky, okay? There is no career which is not risky as long as you don't play it well and safe. I think, most of the time, and if you go back to all the frauds that has happened, and to be on the serious note, all the frauds that has happened, you will always realize that there has been lapses of process. There has been process lapse. Okay, and there has been system lapses, which is why a fraud has happened. If there are 10 steps to be followed, and if you follow 5 steps and the 5 steps are not followed, it can lead to fraud. And every fraud has come out indicating very clearly that there has been lapses. So when there is and we all of us know that, RBI is the father of the banking industry, and we all have to adhere to the guidelines which is given by RBI. Based on the RBI, the board of the bank actually follows and draws up policies, and based on the policies, there are processes which are defined in the bank. We all have to follow processes, and we have to adhere. Any cut short of the processes can cause trouble for all of us, and that is not just for banks. Any organization, you will realize that if you cut processes, if you don't do processes the way it has to be done, the tendency of the whole thing to fall apart, cause issues and frauds are always there. So banking is not risky, but yes, not following processes laid down, not adhering to guidelines and policies definitely leads to defaults, definitely leads to frauds, all will happen. So it is nothing which is very banking specific. It is there for all industry, all the organizations, and every other industry also.
So you just mentioned RBI. I also come from RBI. I had a small short stint with the Reserve Bank. But every now and then we find that there are RBI guidelines on various aspects of the banking business. So don't you think it is highly regulated, and there is no freedom for the banks to do anything on their own? So how does one use one's creativity in growing the business?
See, when the whole world went through the 2008 crisis, okay, and followed by that multiple other crises, one country stood out in the entire thing in terms of safety, and that was India. And that was because of RBI. Okay, we can feel more frustrated because RBI comes out with guidelines every second day. We feel frustrated when RBI keeps asking for reports. But today, if our banks are safe, and today as a country, we are rated one of the best regulated country as far as our economy is concerned, it is because of RBI. Okay, and therefore RBI's guidelines are therefore that's very important. So you and I have gone through those nights of rigors where we had to stay awake night to manage RBI's inspection and make sure things are given to them, and how RBI inspectors behave when they come for inspection. But ultimately, at the end of that, we know that whatever is being done for the good of the and sanity of the organization, which is the bank. Now, as far as creativity is concerned, these two should not be linked, because if creativity was not allowed, okay, and if creativity was something that was stifling, RBI today would not have come with guidelines in terms of how a bank can work with a fintech. How technology has changed the way it is working today is because thanks to RBI. The way RBI has allowed innovations in the organization, in banks, is because, and that is the reason why most of the banks are doing innovations and most of the banks are standing out. Why has small payments bank has come into focus? Because they wanted to make sure that the small it's there to the last mile of the country, that they get banking facilities. It is because of RBI. Why did payments bank come into picture? Because they wanted to make sure that as far as possible, underserved and underserved locations are actually facilitated by banking. So in terms of banking, in terms of creativity, RBI and creativity, you should never match it together, because both of them are very they're actually complementary. It is because RBI is allowing you to do and giving you that freedom to make sure that you come up to the level of how things happen in the the customers benefit out of it. Else today, you would have not seen UPI. And you see the way how well banks are integrated with the UPI today. Today, when you pay the money to anybody, to an Uber guy or to a Kirana shop, you don't even know how the whole model works, right? It's the bank that is there in the back end, which is facilitating the entire transaction. So it is actually RBI who's actually pushing us to become one of the topmost technology-driven organization, technology-driven banks in the world, and we are rated as one of the best banks in the world as one of the best modeled banks in the world, because we have so much of we are so controlled, and we are so we have become so technology built also as an organization in a bank, that we stand out in the whole world as such. So
yeah, I agree. RBI has never sort of discouraged creativity. They encourage a lot of creativity, but as long as we stay within the boundaries of what is correct, what is right, and what is wrong.
It's a very famous line, right, of RBI, which says that RBI does not give you anything in black and white. It's always gray. So you have to read the black and white and draw it up.
True. So RBI always does. RBI doesn't say the bank should do this or should do that. It will say bank may do it or may not do it. I mean, that is how they. It's always gray.
Yeah.
But one thing that comes with a lot of women who are in banks, they do not want to, sort of take up higher roles, mainly because they are afraid of transfers. Especially in public sector banks, they have transfers is one of the issue that women face, and that disrupts their life, their family life. So what would be your advice to, women who want to start a career in banking, especially with respect to this angle?
See, I may be having a very biased response on this, and it's more to do with the way I see a career for women. When you are into a career, right, you cannot, I think you should always explore. You should always, look at what it can give you. Going into, just because you're into a public sector and they'll send into a rural segment doesn't mean that you don't take up banking. Okay, that's number one. Number two is when you do a banking, it always tells you that you have to take a transfer as part of the organization wherever the organization sends you. So whether it is a rural or whether it is in a metro, the organization tells you that you are supposed to be taking up this opportunity. And that happens in many of the other organizations also, unless and until you're a single organization in a country. But having said that, the banking career, when you're told to go, just because you're told to go, it gives you that saying, oh, you have to go into a rural, you may be transferred to a rural, you should not take it up, number one. And number two, I understand perfectly well, people with family may be difficult for you to go into a rural segment, and you may not be able to take up the opportunity. But I think as far as the organization is concerned and bank is concerned, there are many times the HR understands that, and they allow you to take that flexibility for some period of time. But I strongly believe it's a need of the organization, and we have to respect the need of the organization. The organization has trusted you, giving you that job, and you should take it up. So if it is, and therefore when you walk into a responsibility, you actually walk into that responsibility saying that I'll take up what comes into my whatever I'm asked to do, I will do as per the guidelines which is given. So that means if I get a transfer, I will take it up. There may be scenarios where you can't do it, but you can always request the banking HR team to kind of, either deviate it for some time or do it at a later stage and stuff like that. I'm not someone who very strongly advocates that, if it's a banking and if you're asked to go to a rural, don't take it up. I honestly and frankly don't support it. So therefore, my suggestion is take it up. It gives you a different perspective of life. It gives you a different view of life. You will find different things happening. It's a learning experience for the people who are taking up that opportunity.
Absolutely, Jaya. Transfers, it need not always be into rural areas or, remote locations. It could be transfers abroad. There are so many cases where people have been transferred to their London branch, UK, New York branch. So there are opportunities there as well. And even within India, there are so many departments within a bank where your career can really flourish. So one should be open to such opportunities, and that really helps your career grow.
Absolutely.
So now what we will do is we will take up some of the questions that have come up here, and then we will sum up with overall your advice to the team. Okay, so the first question here So she's Kamalpreet says Pune, she's from Pune, 12 years, 7 years of break from IT field. I want to rejoin as PM, project manager, I believe, and need guidance for the same. So, I mean, would you like to?
Yeah, so in banks, in the technology space, and it's so one thing what I want to tell all of you is it's forever hungry for resources. Banking is always hungry for resources. If you go to any bank, they will need resources. And PMO role, most of the organizations on the technology vertical needs a PMO. A PMO is a very a function which is a requisite, a prerequisite, and a really much needed role in an organization. And PMO is also required in various other verticals also. Opportunities in PMOs are always are there, and therefore I'm sure most of the banks, if you watch out for their spaces in their website, these opportunities are available, and you should take it up as that role if that is what you think is what you want to do. But also, let me also tell you one word of caution. Once you get into a role as a PMO, be flexible to explore other roles, challenges, new roles, which will always be there. And I will tell you this from my personal experience. I was a corporate banker who moved to retail banking as one opportunity which came in. And from there, I went into doing Six Sigma in the bank, which was never heard of at that time. And then when I went to set up the centralized operations, which was unknown in the world of banking. I did everything which was not known, and everybody who knew me gave me only one word of advice: Jaya, you're destroying your career. You're destroying your banking career. From a corporate banking, you're going to retail banking, you're going to service quality, which is not heard of. I mean, you're destroying. But today, if I stand back and see, that's a risk I took, and that's why I could do this diverse role and enjoy my career. And I'm standing here talking about banking. So please be open about it. Please take it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen your growth, Jaya. You have always been brave enough to take on, challenging roles, and that has helped you in your career. Great. We talked about remote jobs, so I think that question has been answered.
Yeah.
Okay. So for returnee bankers, I mean, the banks are always, like you said, hungry for talent. So there is always a demand for even returnees are welcome. And we, through Aspire for Her, will try to get you the necessary openings, and you can then apply for those roles, and then we will also be in the future organizing career fairs and other things to help people like you who want to come back to take up.
We do have some open job vacancies. I've shared the careers page of Aspire for Her in the chat section.
Yes.
Ma'am, Saryu is asking, are there any certifications that are accepted for it?
Yeah, I just saw that question, so I was wanting to answer that. So, first and foremost, there are a lot of organizations. So I'll tell you, for the beginning career folks, those are starting their career, you have organizations like a Manipal Academy, and then you have the Institute of
National Institute of Bank Management, NIBM.
NIBM is there, RBI is there, and then you also have a new organization which has now started in Dehradun, which is also focusing on focusing on qualifications in banking. These organizations have multiple opportunities, and I'll tell you one of the other best things of these organizations. Most of these organizations, excluding NIBM and RBI, the other two organizations actually have mandates from the bank to take in resources and train and deploy them in the bank. So it is worthwhile exploring these opportunities. And if you reach out to these organizations, and there are multiple other organizations who actually take on the mandate of training and then deploying it back to the bank. So that will help you to actually get qualified as a banker to be deployed on the job. I mean, these are the reason why they do this is because there is no, as I told you, they're always hungry for people, and there is no waiting time. There is no time to train you. So they say, please give us trained resources. So these organizations actually train and immediately deploy them in the bank. So you should reach out to these organizations to get yourself qualified for a banking job. I've already responded on the remote job possibilities. So that's to the organization. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. Any more questions? People can even speak out. They can ask question directly.
There is one question which says, I'm on a career break. I want to restart my career. My qualification is MCA. As I mentioned, if you're wanting to start your career in banking, MCA, because you're someone who is from the tech side, technology requirement is it's like one ever thirsty space in the bank. It always needs people. So if you watch out for our page in AFH, and also on the bank space, you will find a lot of opportunities for the technology folks to join us, for the technology folks to join banks. So anybody who has asked queries on technology, wanting to restart their career, if the restart option and wanting to join in banking, banks always require IT people, and nowadays it's all the more because of the kind of work which is happening on the fintech space. Technology requirement is always on the rise.
Yeah, great. Madhura, with all your experience in banking, would you like to add to what Jaya is saying?
No, I think I'm good really. I think Jaya has covered it very beautifully. Uh, I think I have been a retail banker most of my life, and perhaps I'll just share couple of anecdotes from my life there to just tell you how banking really was perceived. Um, when you're the branch manager in a branch, you're actually leading a community. And that entire community has so much of trust and love for you. That is quite amazing. I'm not sure whether it happens today because not too many people walk into branches anymore because banking has become absolutely technology driven. But even if you sort of look at uh, the the perception that you carried as a branch manager or as a person who is sort of dealing with their money, it was actually very beautiful, and that is what I love about banking. We even today, when there is a problem, you will be able to do 99.9% of your transactions on your app and on your phone and through internet banking. But when there's a problem, you will look for that human face, and that bank that gives you a great human face becomes your friend. And the person who solves your problem becomes your friend, just like everywhere else. So, it's a very special connect that a banker has with their clients, with their customers. And I think it's a privilege to actually be a banker.
Wow.
I'm talking more from the retail perspective, but forget the fact that you're doing financial inclusion for the country. Forget the fact that you're actually changing the landscape of your country. You're adding to the GDP every day. You're playing a very important role in the economic growth of your country. Even if you don't look at that, just the human connects, I think, in banking can be very beautiful. And therefore, I would encourage all of you to consider actively a career in banking, whether you're in a break, whether you're not in a break. And even if you're on a break, then that's perfectly fine. You can just apply. Uh, of course, you can apply as IT folks as well. Like Jaya said, there is a constant hunger for technology because of the banking has become so tech centric and so tech enabled that there's a constant hunger for good technology folks. So please just feel free. We will bring in a lot more banking jobs. I think currently we just have a few roles. Hiral has put up the list. I think we have a few roles with Equitas, but we do work with some of the other banks. We do work with Standard Chartered, with DBS, with HSBC, with Deutsche Bank. Uh, and there have been specific projects which we've done for returnees only. For example, for Deutsche Bank, we did a returnee only, piece. And, we will be bringing in many, many more banks into the fold. So keep your eyes open and keep looking out for if most of you are from the returnship community, from the returnee community, then please keep your be on the lookout for newer and newer job opportunities that we are posting on our new job portal. So a lot will be happening there. Currently, it's just a start for us for the job portal piece, but a lot will be happening there. And I look forward to welcoming all of you into, I think, one of the most rewarding and one of the most satisfying career options that you could ever choose for yourself. I think all of us will agree on that, right? Radha.
Agreed. Very, very satisfying.
Yeah.
So one question that has come up is on the age limit for bank jobs. So as such, there is no specific age limit for the bank job, except, yeah, every bank has its own retirement age and all that. But if your experience is very good and they want a person with that kind of a skill set, age is no bar for banks. Right, Jaya?
Yeah, in fact, there can be a age limit for those joining as the newcomers, the youngsters who are joining or doing the career for the first time. There will be some age limit for the entry level job. But as you grow up in the ladder, the age limit is not something which a bank usually says. And like rightly you said, Radha, retirement age is the only age limit for someone to move out of it. But yeah, the age limit for entry level, the junior ones, there will be there. Maybe that's bank driven. And even if you see the the requirement that comes in the public sector bank, it says 21 to 25, 28 is what you can entry level, as a clerical or whatever it is.
It's
So
only those, I think,
only
yeah. It's
those. But
only
after
those
that,
limited ones which have an age limit kind of a thing.
after
Yeah.
that, after that those age limits are not there.
So,
But yes,
Sarayu, I'm very happy to see that you're asking a lot of questions. Thank you for your active participation. Sarayu asked about training programs coming up through AFH. Well, AFH does a lot of training. And, we can tell you a little bit about some of the training programs that we have done. So we did a digital marathon where we wanted to touch 100,000 women who will dip their toes into the digital ocean. And we did a lot of very beautiful short courses from IBM there. We have a lot of work which we do with Amazon Web Services, and that's around, again, on cloud certification, various forms, very short-term courses to really long courses, intense courses, which are 12 to 14 weeks long as well, ending with a global certification. We did a lot of training with new age career options with Google. That was a few months ago. And otherwise, we keep having previews and sessions with various organizations. We try to bring to you all the forward-looking, diversity-focused organizations, and they come in and do workshops, whether it is Adobe or Salesforce or ServiceNow. I'm just naming a few which have just happened in the recent past. You'll see a lot of those on our platform. So, Sarayu, if you're signed up at Aspire for Her, and if you sort of ticked off your interest areas and the community that you wish to associate with, then you will get all mails. And please also look out on social media. We keep posting, what we are doing. Like, for example, this one also is what we're going live on social media. So we'd love for you, to be a more active part of the community and sort of look at absorbing all our learning resources. Banking learning resources we haven't yet put out, so which is why we thought that we will start off with a very simple sort of series wherein people talk about various kind of career options. And you saw the first one today. Today is very special because we started it off. But I'm sure that, we will also bring in a lot of learning around banking careers in general in the next weeks, months to come. One more interesting thing we do around money is called She Knows Money. And that is not so much about banking careers, but it is also generally about improving one's relationship with money. And Jaya, maybe you would like to talk a little bit about She Knows Money as well, because it is intrinsically related to banking in some ways.
Yeah, I think good you raise this point, Madhura, because I think all of us need to understand our money. And that's why we very aptly coined it as She Knows Money. And this is something that at AFH we've launched this because we know that every woman needs to know her money. where does it come from, what do we do with it, and how do we manage our money. And some of the lessons that we have learned in our past, and some of the lessons that many of us have seen many family members go through, society go through, is largely because of the lack of understanding of how to manage money. So this particular session of She Knows Money typically explains to you what is your goal, how much is your spend, how much is your saving, what should you do, how should you look at the future, how should you plan for your future, and in case of any exigencies, how would you make sure that you have funds to manage it. And these are some of the hardcore learnings that many of us have learned in our personal life. The COVID taught us. So all of that put together, we made sure that we bring in sessions that talk to people, talk to our folks about money management, and how should we do that. So I'm sure all those who are participants of this session and others also will hear a lot of sessions from us on She Knows Money, and be part of it. And make sure that you know how to handle your money, and don't let others handle it for you.
Great. So we have had a good round of discussion on various career options within banking. As far as training programs in banking is concerned, Sarayu, you have raised this question. I would, while we are looking at focused training programs, with tie-ups with institutes or organizations, I would also like you guys to join all the webinars that we will be conducting under the Women in Banking initiative. So this will be every other week. I mean, Hiral and team, the AFH team will be publishing the calendar, or they will be telling you about the various sessions that are likely to come up in the near future. Please register for those. Those sessions will be led by mainly experts on those particular areas, and they will tell you more about the various aspects of banking. So that will also give you a good idea, at least the basic knowledge of what that aspect of banking is all about. So request all of you to continue participating in these webinars going forward. And together, let us have more women in banking. Thank you.
Thank you
so much. Thank you,
Thank
Radha.
you.
Thank you, Jaya. Thank you so much. Thank you to the
There
lovely
are-
audience.
Hiral, have you
We have
done
one more poll.
the polls?
Second poll
You have a
I'm
poll.
launching. Yeah.
While Farisha launches the poll, I think I'll just give you another quick update. We are actually looking for folks to join our team at Aspire for Her. So we've got some LinkedIn posts up there for our team as well. So if any of you are women on a break or otherwise, and who want to come and look at exploring options within Aspire for Her, then please just sign up, talk to Doel. Doel Sham has put up the posts on LinkedIn, so you can actually look at it. We are always looking for good people, and I must tell you that for returning women, I think we've become a bit of a case study, because I think a lot of wonderful teammates, including our Chief Growth Officer, Ruchita Tandon, came back into the workforce, and they have had fantastic journeys with us. We are very privileged to have them. You can see some of them here right now. You can see Hiral and Farisha. They're right here, and we're very, very thrilled to welcome all women who have taken a break and who want to get back into the workforce. So I thought I should just end on that note as well, since some of you are looking for jobs. We may not be a bank, but yeah,
less than a bank also.
not less than a bank also.
Thanks.
Thank you, Sheetal. Thank you, Sheetal. Thank you, Shama. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks a
Thanks,
lot.
Jaya, specifically for having taken time and taken the pains to explain the various career options. Thank you.
And we are just getting started, Radha, right? We are just getting
Yes,
started.
it is in the blood, actually. That is a problem. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.